honeys. Thanks for coming down to see me. I was just thinking of my old flame, although I can't remember his name. I'll call him the Amazing Bone. Have you ever had the Amazing Bone? I mean, have you ever heard of the Amazing Bone? No? Well, relax. I'll tell you about him. Hey, honey, can you dim my lights? Get comfortable. I'll make you feel good. Or maybe I'll make you feel bad. It was a brilliant day, and instead of going straight home from school, Pearl Dog, she watched the grown-ups in town at their grown-up work, things she might someday be doing. She watched the street cleaners sweeping the streets, and she looked in at the bakery on Hornsnip Lane and saw bakers taking hot loaves of pumpernickel out of the oven and powdering crullers with sugar dust. On Cobble Road, she stopped at Maltby's barn and stood gawking as the old gaffers pitched ringing horseshoes and spat tobacco juice. Later, she sat on the ground in the forest, between school and home. The spring was so bright and beautiful. The warm air touched her so tenderly. She could almost feel herself changing into a flower. Oh, some trick. I love everything, she heard herself say. So do I. A voice answered. Pearl straightened up and looked around. No one was there. Well, where are you? Look down. I'm the bone in the violets near the rock on your right. You can talk? In any language. Habla Español. Sprechen Sie Deutsch. And I can imitate any sound there is. The bone made sounds of trumpets calling soldiers to arms. Then he made sound of wind blowing and pattering rain. And then he snored and then he sneezed. But you're a bone. How come you can sneeze? I don't know. I didn't make the world. May I take you home with me, wonderful bone? Certainly may. I've been alone a long time. A year ago, come August, I fell out of a witch's basket, but I didn't want to be her bone any longer. I'd be happy with someone young and lively like you. Pearl picked up the bone and gently put it in her purse. She continued home, leaving her school books on the ground. The spring green sparkled in the spring light. Tree toads were trilling. It's that kind of wonderful day. Only wonderful things happen like my finding you. Like my finding you. They continued on their way, but it wasn't long before 3 highway robbers came out from behind the boulders with pistols and daggers. Oh no, honey, not that kind of pistol. I could tell what breed of animal they were because they wore Halloween masks and cloaks, but they were fierce. Hand over your purse! You can't have my purse, said Pearl. Well, what's in it? I'm in it, said the bone, and it began to hiss like a snake and roar like a lion. The robbers didn't stick around to see what's next. They fled so fast, Pearl couldn't tell which way they'd gone. They continued on their way, but it wasn't long before a fox stepped out. Ooh. A fox stepped out from behind a tree and blocked their path. Yes, my little chickadee. You're everything I've been longing for. Young, plump, and tender. You'll be my main course at dinner tonight. And he seized Pearl in a tight embrace. Unhand her, you villain, or I'll bite your ears off. Yes, who is that speaking? Oh, ravenous crocodile who dotes on fresh fox chops, that you. Oh, but the wily fox wasn't as easily duped as the robbers. He saw no ravenous crocodile. He peered into the purse, where the voice seemed to be coming from, and pulled out the bone. Yes, it's a living flourish, a talking bone. I've always wanted something of that sort. And he put the bone in his pocket where he roared and ranted to no avail. Shut up or I'll eat you! It'd be amusing to gnaw on a bone that talks and screams with pain. Ooh. He stayed quiet the rest of the way, and so did Pearl. When they arrived at the fox's hideaway, he shoved Pearl and her bone in an empty room and locked the door. I know how you feel. I'm only just beginning to live. I don't want it to end. I know. Oh, Bone, isn't there something we can do? I wish I could think of something, but I can't. I feel miserable. Pearl could smell vinegar and oil in the kitchen. The fox was tossing a salad to go with his meal. Pearl held the to her breast.
Oh, Bone, say something to comfort me.
Are you aware how dear you are to me?
How dear you are to me.
Oh, they could hear the key in the door. The fox was coming. Oh, be brave, said the Bone. Pearl was dragged into the kitchen where she could see open flames on the stove. Yes, I hate having to do this to you. It's nothing personal. Yabam, said the Bone without knowing why he said it. Yabam shibibble debacking the grave. And something quite unexpected took place. The fox grew several inches shorter. Ooh! I do this shish you like kebumping your bop. And now the fox was the size of a mouse. Scrabble it! And now the fox, well the mouse that is, scurried away into a hole.
I didn't know you could do magic.
Well, neither did I.
Oh, what made you say those words?
Oh, I don't know, they just came to me, and I had to say them. I must have picked them up from hanging out with that old witch.
You're an amazing Bone, and this is a day I'll never forget.
It was dark when they arrived at Pearl's house. The moment the door swung open, she was in her mother's arms, and after that, her father's.
Well, where on earth have y'all been? We were frazzled with worry.
Pearl didn't know where to begin.
This Bone can talk.
And just as she expected her mother to say, "Oh, Pearl, a talking bone, it's only your imagination." And just as she expected, the Bone astonished them all by remarking, "Are you aware that you have an exceptional daughter?" It was all too much for Pearl's parents to handle. Until they got used to it, the Bone stayed on and became part of the family. He got a special place in a silver tray on the mantelpiece. But every night when Pearl retired, she'd take the Bone to bed with her. And the two chatterboxes would whisper together late into the night. Sometimes he'd even imitate soft harp music to put her to sleep. Anytime anyone was alone in the house, they always had the Bone to converse with. They had music whenever they wanted it, and sometimes even when they didn't. Ooh, the amazing Bone.